Welcome to Radio on Fire, home of the Diamond K Show.
Diamond K in the house.
And now for your urban news and entertainment report. Here's your host, Diamond K.
Oh my goodness.
It's the Diamond K Show.
The defense team at Donald Trump's camp is just getting crazier and crazier. The former president's attorney, John Sawyer, said yesterday during the hearing that reviewed a motion to potentially toss his election interference charges, said that the former president should have immunity from all prosecutions to overturn the 2020 election since he was not convicted by the Senate, since he was not impeached. And because of his conduct is currently under investigation, was part of his duty as the sitting commander-in-chief. And they've been making these claims for a while. And the judges, there are three judges on this court. And when Sawyer was asked during his appearance in front of the Court of Appeals of D.C., the panel, if the president would be, prosecuted if he ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, would he be prosecuted for something like that? And this attorney, supposed to be smart, so-called smart person, responded by saying that the action would be barred. The prosecution would be barred. Considering a former executive's broad immunity to criminal prosecution. Yeah, it is getting more ridiculous and more ridiculous coming from Republicans. The attorney says that he would have to be impeached and convicted. The ridiculousness continues. So you mean to tell me that Joe Biden, who's currently the president, he could have, SEAL Team 6 take out Trump and nothing would happen? No, they're not saying that. It's only for Trump, right? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The hypothetical scenario is wild. And of course, they'll say that the president has immunity, total immunity, but then they'll say that they're going to lock up Biden for crimes that he committed. So I guess the immunity is only for Trump, right? It is really, really interesting. These people are not thinking things through. The real facts are so easy to decipher. But when you try to argue with people that want to go down this slippery slope, talking about killing somebody, talk about not wanting to hold Trump accountable for anything. Like they don't want to hold him accountable for anything. He caused the insurrection. 1 minute is insurrection. First it was Antifa, then it's all patriots, and then they're hostages, and they just one day from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. Donald Trump had every right to question the election. He had court cases, 60 some odd court cases, which he lost. The time for checking, the time for not facing the reality that he lost the 2020 election, all that passed. That was done in December. Then you get to January 6th, and that is when he takes things too far. Now, if he had kept his mouth, even if we go back to during the 2020 election, during COVID, if Donald Trump had kept his mouth shut and acted like a normal person, he could have coasted to victory, an easy victory. He would have had some Democrats voting for him because people did not want to vote for Biden. But Trump and his arrogance and his big freaking mouth is what forced people to say, hey, we can't do this for another 4 years. And it engaged voters to cast their ballot for Biden. And Trump's doing it again. When Biden is not the most popular president, but yet at the same time, Trump is reminding people with these idiotic statements, be it from him, be it from his attorneys, that remind folks of why 4 more years of Trump would be disastrous. Disastrous. So Trump is in court, and it's a lot going on. It's difficult to keep up with all of the cases that the former president has. You really got to work to keep up with it. He's got a lot going on. Now, this is in a whole other case, a whole nother case. The judge has rescinded permission for Trump to give his own closing argument at his civil fraud trial. Well, Donald Trump will not be making his own closing argument in this New York civil business fraud trial after his lawyers objected to the judge's insistence that the former president would stick to relevant matters. Why has he got to stick to relevant matters? Why has he got to stick to stuff that's relevant to this case? Why does he have to talk about something that applies to what we're talking about? Why can't he just ramble on? So the permission was rescinded today, a day ahead of closing arguments in this trial. The trial could cost Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars in penalties and strip him of his ability to do business in the state of New York. His attorneys had signaled last week that he planned to take the extraordinary step of delivering his own closing remarks. In addition to arguments from his legal team, Trump is obviously the defendant in this case. This case was brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James. She claims that his net worth was inflated by billions of dollars on financial statements that helped him secure loans and insurance. But just as he does when he's talking about immunity, he inflates and deflates when it is beneficial to him. Former president and the current Republican 2024 frontrunner denies any wrongdoing. Okay, leave it up to him. He never did any wrongdoings. 3 marriages, great before, and he never did any wrongdoing. He has lambasted the case as a hoax. No surprise there. It's a political attack on him. No surprise there. It's been a fascinating thing to watch. Fascinating thing to watch. But they are not allowing him, because he would have gone off with some tangent, unrelated topics and the such. I think this is for the best. Trump testified in the case in November. You remember he was going back and forth with the judge and state lawyers as he defended himself and his real estate empire. He considered skipping a second round of testimony. He was going to come, and he decided that he wasn't, and that's probably for the best. He teased a return appearance, but changed course, saying that he had nothing else to say. This guy here, this guy is something else. And what is so ironic, all of the showmanship, all the hoopla for his supporters and cult members, this is good for the primary. And they'll say, oh, the trials and the indictments, they're just helping him in the polls. This is during the primary, when you're just trying to get the votes of Republicans. But when the general election comes, and you're trying to get votes from independents and Democrats and Republicans, it's going to be a whole different story. And that's where he gets confused. He's in an echo chamber. He's only around yes men and yes women. He's only around these Republicans who are worshiping him. But that's only part of the country. You need votes from everybody. And that's why you lost the last time. And thankfully, that's why you're going to lose this time. Speaking of the election, Christie is set to announce in a New Hampshire town hall that he is ending his presidential bid. According to the Associated Press, former New Jersey Governor Christie plans to drop out of the race tonight. That is according to a person with direct knowledge of the New Jersey governor's plans. So they're setting the stage. Christie has been under intense pressure to exit the Republican presidential primary race as critics of Donald Trump work to unify behind a viable alternative to the former president. They need to try to get folks behind. And I think in the case of Christie, it's probably going to be Nikki Haley. Christie is scheduled to host a town hall meeting at the Wyndham Hotel hours before his two rivals, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, meet for the fifth GOP debate of the 2024 election cycle. This is a debate that Christie did not qualify for. Christie, no saint at all. Someone who enabled Trump over the years, was subservient to Trump over the years, had a fallout with Trump, ran against him, was the only one that was speaking against Trump. But Republican, in a general election, this would have worked fine. But in a primary, a Republican primary, he had trouble. He had a lot of trouble. And, that is, he was the only one speaking since. Sadly, he has to go. I mean, what else is he going to do? I don't know. But he's got to get behind either Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley. I think it's going to be Nikki Haley, but we will see. We will see. The Iowa caucus next week, and the consolidation is continuing with regards to that. We're going to be covering that Iowa race live next week. Looking forward to that, seeing what happens in these first couple of states. Gun captures at the BWI airport increased by 18% in 2023. 18%. According to the TSA, officers stopped 20% more guns in 2023 at BWI International Thurgood Marshall Airport. They released a statement today saying that officers stopped 105 handguns at airport security checkpoints in BWI last year, which is 16 more than the 89 guns that they caught in 2022. Wow. What are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking? TSA said its officers discovered each of the firearms during routine screenings of carry-on property at airport security checkpoints. So they thought that they were going to just carry this on. Now, BWI topped the list of local airports with 42 handguns caught in 2023, while there were 39 caught at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport and 24 at Dulles International. Wow. I'm not understanding what some of these folks are thinking. You're trying to say you forgot you had the gun. It looks crazy. It looks crazy. Speaking of crazy, a secret tunnel in a New York synagogue leads to a brawl. Leads to a brawl between police and worshipers. So this historic Brooklyn synagogue that serves as the center of an influential Jewish movement was trashed this week during a unusual community dispute that began with the discovery of a secret underground tunnel and ended up with a fight between worshipers and the cops. The conflict erupted at the headquarters, which was in Crown Heights, a deeply revered Jewish site that each year receives thousands of visitors, including international students and religious leaders. This is kind of crazy. There's been a lot of talk online about different things that happened in the tunnels and why were there tunnels and all of that kind of stuff. As of yesterday, the synagogue remained closed off by police barricades as New York City building safety agents inspected whether a tunnel dug without official permission may have caused structural damage to the famed property. So, of course, if they're digging underground without the proper permits, you run the risk of a building collapse, or building collapse would be the worst case scenario. But you can't just do this digging like this. And officials and local youth said that young men in the community recently built the passage to the sanctuary in secret. When the group's leaders tried to seal it off on Monday, they staged a protest that turned violent as police moved in to make arrests. Now, the purpose of the tunnel, and the incitement of this altercation remains the subject of some debate. I mean, it shouldn't have happened. It should not have been there, right? You can't just randomly add a tunnel. What are you thinking? How many times have we seen buildings collapse? If that building had collapsed, there would have been a whole conspiracy theory about who did it. You cannot take it upon yourself to build some tunnel. Speaking of taking it upon yourself, very ironic, fans jumped on the YSL trial Zoom call and started yelling, "Free Thug, mistrial. Free Thug, mistrial." I suppose that folks, supporters of Young Thug think that they are helping him. Yep. And I understand that they want to advocate for Young Thug. They feel strongly about what's been happening to him. But if you want the best for Young Thug, if you're trying to support Young Thug, on day 16 of this trial, yelling for a mistrial is not going to help him. You want to advocate for him, you need to be asking for an acquittal, not a mistrial. I'm just saying. Of course, I'm here at the Diamond K Show on all social media. Hit me up, djdiamondk at gmail.com. Need to get in touch with me, of course. Join diamondk.com. You get the daily show plus the bonus show plus a lot of other exclusive content here. radioonfire.tv, onfire-tv.com. See you guys tomorrow.